Where do you cry when you don't want anyone to know? Especially if you're that person that's expected to hold it all together. Are you that person people fall back on? Do you cry in the shower? Do you cry in the dark? Or do you cry in the car? You see, the first time I photographed myself, I cried for 2 hours, and I didn't photograph myself for another 2 years. The thing is, when I looked at that photo, I wasn't prepared for the reality my eyes were telling me. I was in a relationship where everyone thought I was happy. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone, including me. I did a great job at convincing myself I was happy, fake smiles and all. But there it was, the reality, and I couldn't escape it. I tried a couple years later to photograph myself again, and that's when I discovered if I let the darkness out, it made room for light. And that's where the transformation began for me. And it led to my redemption. You see, when Joseph Karsh photographed Helen Keller, he said her light came from within. That's what he realized. I believe we all have a light inside of us, and when I walked up to that mirror, to that photo, where did my light go? Where was my smile? You see, my fire inside of me, it used to rage inside of me like a fire in the August Nevada desert. But it was coming out of me. My smile was leaving. And sometimes when I laughed, I was reminded, thinking back, when's the last time I laughed like that? The truth is, I was lonely, and it is still so hard to say. I was sleeping at night next to a man I wanted to love. I wanted to baptize myself in him. But instead, when I heard that key turn in the door, my heart sunk. Minutes before, I had my thermostat set to the exact temperature I loved. I was eating a sleeve of Oreos on the couch. Dishes were piling high, and I did it all guilt-free. And it felt fantastic. But you see, as soon as I heard that car pull in the driveway, my home of comfort, it turned into a building that I wanted to escape. You see, it wasn't just about me anymore. There were others involved. And I would go up to his bedside, and I would look down at my son, and I would think, will he hate me if I go? Will he grow up and hate me if I stay? My parents have been married over 60 years, and they love each other. They will still dance in the living room. Do I need to dance in the living room to be happy? Is that what I need? I don't know ever if I made the right decision. Not now anyways. I'm not gonna know until this story has played out, and maybe we'll be sitting somewhere and he's gonna tell me. So all I can do is I look at my son and I say to him, my son, you and I walk on this plank called life together. We step out to the very edge and we look down and we realize just how amazing it can be. So we jump right into it and we swim and we play and we laugh And you better believe when I see those turtles coming, I am pushing you straight into them, and you better swim with them like Nemo's father. And may your journey be totally righteous. You see, don't worry about me. I never want to hold you back. At the end of the day, you and I both know where home resides. And when you go, I will be reminded to walk back up to the mirror, back up to that photo, and reignite that fire in me. I will be reminded of my own dreams again and the adventures I need to go after. And you know what? Just maybe, if I get it right, we'll sit on the top of Machu Picchu someday and watch the sunset. Just do me a favor and bring a camera, because you better believe I'll have mine. And then the day came with absolute clarity, where together was no longer an option anymore. Do you ever wonder why it is, whether we are sick or love or life, that when it gets the hardest, that's when we're expected to be our strongest? Why is that? You know, I sit and think to myself, the two most difficult things in life are love and parenting, and they require no training, and yet somehow we beat ourselves up for the moments we don't get it right. Why is that? You know, we come into this situation, and the person to fall back on is ourselves, and so what do? Do we cry in the car? Maybe, probably after. But we dig deep. We find energy where there is no energy. We build strength out of nothing, and we stand up. And we rage on. We stand up and we rage on because we have to. You see, it was supposed to get easier. No, but instead it got harder. But it was a different kind of hard. My life puzzle blew up in front of me. And when I looked down at every piece, it was like 10,000 bricks on me with a semi with no tires to move them. You know, I envied the people who said their heads were barely above water because I was drowning. I used to be surviving week to week, day to day. Now I'm surviving hour to hour, minute to minute. This is a hurricane to my pilot light. And all I can do is hold on to the words that it will get better. And it did. You see, looking back, it was so surreal. Sometimes it just seems like a story, and at moments I forget it's my story. Was it more than I thought? Was it less than I thought? Did I make too much out of it? You see, he hid behind a mask I couldn't see through because I was blinded by what I wanted to believe. Why, oh why, did that mask have to be so beautiful? And then one day, I saw his truth. And I realized the whole time, my eyes had been telling me lies. So I decided to buy myself a couple hundred Post-its, and I had the words printed on them, I forgive myself. Had them laid out all across the floor, and I laid down to take the photo. I took it, and it was terrible. You see, I realized I wasn't connecting to my own words that I wrote, I forgive myself. And so I got up, I walked over to my computer, and I wrote down everything in my life that I forgave myself for. Even the ugly stuff you don't want to think about, getting into my mother's blush even when I was a little girl. Everything. And I left it out there for two of my friends to read, and you want to know what happened? They still loved me. Because that's what friends do. They show up and they love you. And I walked back over and I laid down on those words, and I got the shot in just a couple frames. And then I wrote to myself, I forgive you. I forgive you for ignoring your gut. I forgive you for missing it. I forgive you for feeling like you were selfish when just one moment you wanted a slice of happiness. I forgive you for not removing that toxic or loving that person you should have never loved, but you don't need to be forgiven for that one, because this little guy, he's the best gift of your life. You see, it was my time to be forgiven. Maybe it's yours. My wish for you is that you find your zoom lens. You take that zoom lens and you aim it here. And like my son said to me, he goes, Mommy, you are like the ocean, because the deeper you go, the harder it is, because it tightens in your chest because the pressure builds. May you be the ocean. Swim deep into that zoom lens, and I want you to sit in the midst of the imperfections of your soul. And may you find your redemption. Thank you.